Senator Whelan.
And I too would like to welcome the Minister to the House and commend and praise him indeed. On the first day of summer, there's a great deal of warmth in the room, and I'd like to continue in that vein. And the Minister has indeed come forward and embraced the motion, not just in letter but in spirit. And I also want to commend my colleagues in the independent group and Senator Mary-Ann O'Brien, who has led on this and who has championed this issue along with our other colleagues in the independent group. And I suppose to an extent we're all singing off the same hymn sheet here. I think everyone is on the same side. I don't think anyone doubts the Minister's bona fides or credentials or credibility or his good intent, or indeed anyone who has spoken to it, and it's great to see cross-party support on the issue and the points and objectives that are at stake. I suppose the difficulty is that, before we get carried away with ourselves too much, the Charities Act was passed by the Parliament in 2009. The dreaded words I live in dread of in here are shortly, imminently and soon. And I'm not saying that applies in this case, but you just never know, just what time frame that encapsulates. And that because I do know that on September 19th last, I myself brought forward a similar motion here, calling for the full implementation of the Charities Act and for the appointment and establishment of the Office of the Regulator. And indeed, to be fair, at that time, it received wholehearted and warm and cross-party support. But, that's 9 months ago. And albeit that there has been consultation since, and that's important, it is important that, at that time there was some nervousness about it. No one at any stage is casting any aspersions or any doubts about, again, the integrity and honesty about the 8,000 charities who not only have access to $4 billion in state funding, but it's estimated perhaps $4 billion again in charitable donations and contributions, which is more than half the budget of the Department of Health. And we do know the scrutiny that is now required to make sure that the taxpayer and the communities get value for money, and that the money is going to where it's most needed, to the client and to the coalface. We all have, as Senator Dennis Donovan in his moving contribution pointed out, there's no one in the room has not, I suppose, their favourite charities and work. We can only commend the work of the Cancer Society, the hospice movement, the Wheelchair Association, the myriad of suicide support groups in the current climate around the country. This morning coming to work, I thought it was very clever wordplay. The lifeboats people were out with their Mayday collection. I thought it was very clever and very appropriate, and if anyone's going home this evening, on a sunny evening, keep them in mind. I'm sure they're out and about. But the charity sector does rely on its credibility and its reputation, and by and large we're very lucky in this country to have such commendable people, because it is a vibrant and robust and vigorous sector, and without it, that voluntary sector and that charitable sector, there would be an horrendous void in Irish society that I don't think the state could meet or match. We would be left stranded in so many areas. And therefore it's vital that the important funding and the limited funding that is available is being put to best use and good use. Because, again, let's not kid ourselves, there are unscrupulous people out there. No one, the present company excluded. I mean, everyone, as I said, those who have put their best foot forward, to be fair, are clamouring for the implementation of the Act. They have been imploring government to get on with it. The charities here have been embracing the consultation process. But I don't think we can continue to say there's a cost or structural impediment that prevents us from getting on with it. There is too much at stake. Not only the money, but the valuable work that's at stake, because we have seen time and time again that there are those who will take advantage when advantage is there to be taken. They will exploit the gaps. They will exploit any loopholes. There are cases of excessive commission where the money is being stripped out and not going to the people who it's intended for. There are charities who do not disclose and who are not transparent in their actions and in their payment system and in their processes. And there is evidence of, you know, it's hard to believe that they're even ripping off the clothing banks. You know, so this is something that a charity regulatory office would bring to an end. We should have a league table of best practice so people will know the charities that are behaving and conforming to best practice and those who are putting the money to best use. We do have an horrendous amount, thanks, of I believe there's a certain amount of duplication and overlap in the sector. And that's not good for anyone, and certainly not for the children and for those in need and those who most need, as I said, diminishing resources at this time. So I commend again the Minister and welcome Minister John O'Sullivan to the House to continue on the discussion. I commend the Minister for taking the implementation in a gradual fashion of the Charities Act so far. But in all fairness, you know, 4 years down the line, and we did bring this forward, as I said, the Labour group did have a similar motion, and I commend the independent group. They just didn't bring forward the problems or the challenges, but they came up with solutions, which, you know, again, is to be commended. But our motion dates back 9 months ago, and I would like to see, you know, that the consultation would be brought to a successful conclusion, and we move robustly and promptly into the implementation phase. Thanks, Cathaoirleach, and thanks, Minister.